Hi, Dr. Matthew Weiner here to talk to you about how to achieve lifelong success after bariatric surgery. There's a lot of attention that's paid to the first month or 2 months or 6 months or a year after bariatric surgery, but I'm here to talk to you more about 5 years and beyond and what you can do to make sure that this decision that you make is going to result in lifelong weight loss. And what I've done is I've kind of gotten some tips and some suggestions from some patients who've managed to achieve this. And without question, one thing that I've found in these people who are able to succeed for the rest of their life after surgery, who are years, decades later, continuing to live by these changes, by eating the right foods and exercising and living a healthy lifestyle, what their philosophy of life is. And when I ask them how are they able to make these changes, what drives them, without question, they always look me right in the eye and they say, Dr. Weiner, I am never going back. And I'm here to help give you some advice so that you can make sure that you're one of these successful weight loss surgery patients. One thing I work with patients on, and it's a little bit of it goes against your intuition. It's a very common mistake I see, is that we make the stomach smaller by turning into a narrow tube with a sleeve gastrectomy, or we reroute the intestines and make the stomach smaller with a gastric bypass procedure. And patients initially after surgery are able to eat only very, very small amounts of food before they feel full. And there's oftentimes a false sense of security in these small portions. And because of this, we look at the weight loss that we're achieving, and we look at the future of your weight loss being based on portion size. And if you remember one thing about this video, I want you to remember that it's not the portion size that's going to drive long-term weight loss. It's going to be changing the content of your diet. And if you go along with the crowd and eat food that's presented to us in our toxic food environment, then you are at very significant risk for weight regain. Lifelong success is going to depend on changing the type of food you eat, not your portion size. And I'll explain a little more about how this all works as I kind of walk you through the years after surgery. But before we get to that, let's start with what to eat. And one mistake that I frequently see patients making is that we take our heavily processed, sweetened, salted, high-fat foods that are out there, and we find low-fat, artificially sweetened, and artificially flavored foods and try to substitute those as healthy alternatives. And so what I encourage patients to do is not to just eat lower calorie forms of processed food, which is what is really marketed in the diet industry, but rather eat fruits and vegetables. These should make up the backbone of your diet. And despite all the discussion about how much protein you need after surgery, in the first few months, I will agree, you need a decent amount of protein to prevent muscle loss. But for lifelong, you're not going to have higher protein needs than anybody else. And in fact, 45 to 60 grams of protein a day is more than adequate. And protein does not always mean animal protein, although that's fine. It also means beans and nuts, an excellent source of protein, very, very well tolerated by bariatric patients. I think that the protein shake should be used certainly in the first few months after surgery, but we should attempt to wean people off these. These are not naturally healthy foods. These are artificially flavored, artificially sweetened, processed protein. And I don't look at them as a healthy part of a long-term weight loss surgery, successful weight loss surgery diet. Water, coffee, and tea to drink, and none of the diet soft drinks or Crystal Light. And it's very confusing because we do use these initially in the immediate postoperative phase, but in the prolonged picture, in the lifelong picture, they really should be minimized or eliminated. And set point smoothies, I think, are a critical part of a weight loss surgery, of the successful weight loss surgery diet. As opposed to the protein shakes where you're focusing on getting in the protein, these set point smoothies made with green leafy vegetables and fruits and herbs and other things that make them delicious will provide you with a very rich source of these phytonutrients that are going to help keep you healthy and well nourished and keep your weight down. We want to avoid the sugar-sweetened beverages, the soda pop, the sweetened coffee drinks, the energy drinks, the sports drinks. These things are a toxin, and even in small amounts. A lot of people think, especially after gastric bypass surgery, they'll dump from these types of beverages. But in fact, most people don't. And just because you can tolerate it doesn't mean it's okay for you to be drinking it. Again, artificially sweetened beverages. I have a general rule about fast food. I think no weight loss surgery patient should ever eat a burger and fry fast food meal like a McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, or something along those lines. I do happen to love Chipotle. I think that you can do very, very well at places like this, but the traditional burger and fry fast food joints, really, they're out. They're a thing of the past. The lean cuisine and the Weight Watchers style, low-calorie, processed, heavily salted, artificially flavored meals must go as well. This is not a healthy diet. This is not what someone who's working toward health, not toward weight loss, should eat. Also be very, very wary of what I refer to as organic junk food. And these are the soy crisps that are sold in the specialty grocery stores and talk about all their organic ingredients. But when you start to dig deep into their ingredient list, you find organic brown rice syrup instead of high fructose corn syrup. But nutritionally, they're very, very similar. And so be careful. Just because it's sold and marketed as a healthy organic food does not mean that it actually is. And I think most importantly, if you're going to succeed after surgery, you can't eat what everybody else eats. And it's important that you recognize that the rest of the world is crazy with the way that we're eating. And then if you go with the flow, that you're going to be on the path to going back to where you started from. And that, having seen it from time to time, is tragic. It is tragic. It is a devastating blow to the psyche of someone. And many times they're unable to recover and ever really achieve good health. When it comes to exercise, also, we have to get out of this mindless treadmill, low to moderate cardiovascular exercise philosophy and move more toward high intensity movement. So although walking isn't a high intensity movement, it's a critical part, and regular walking, ideally 10,000 steps a day and 10 flights of stairs a day, is critical. You walk everywhere you can. You enjoy the fact that now that you've lost all this weight, you can walk. You relish in it and make it a part of your life. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Lifting weights is really, really important to build muscle. The more muscle you have, the lower it keeps your set point. You help to establish that lower metabolic thermostat. If you don't know what I mean by that, you can watch the video, How Does Bariatric Surgery Really Work? Exercises that use your own body weight, like push-ups and sit-ups and squats without any weight, those are fantastic because there's a very low chance you'll get injured, and they're very natural movements. They build muscle effectively, and in my mind should be a core part of any exercise routine. The short exercise videos that are now available on YouTube work out fantastic. I love a good 15 or 20 minute exercise video. It's convenient. You can drop it in at the beginning or the end of the day. There's a huge variety, and it keeps you moving in a different way every day. Yoga, I think, is fantastic also because of the stress release effect that it has, and implementing a regular yoga practice is something that I would strongly encourage in any of my patients. A lot of people love Zumba as well. These boot camp classes are increasing in popularity, and I think they're fantastic. They use a lot of the push-ups and sit-ups and lunges and squats that are really, really helpful for weight loss. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, any physical activity that you enjoy. So looking for leisure activities that involve physical activity and exercise is ideal, because now exercise becomes the best part of your day, which is what it should be. So if you go to yoga and you don't like it, then yoga's not for you. But if you love the Zumba class, then that's what you should be doing. You should love exercise, because if you love it, you're going to keep up with it. I try to discourage people from regular treadmill, jogging, elliptical, stationary bike type low impact exercise, unless that's the only thing you can do. If that's the only thing you can do, it's better than nothing. but it really isn't going to drive the weight loss and, quite frankly, keep you interested the way a lot of the other activities will. And also, in terms of what you shouldn't do, you should not do the same exercise routine every day. So for me, when I look at some of these successful patients, it's Zumba on Monday and yoga on Tuesday and weightlifting on Wednesday, and they're constantly changing it up and doing different exercise every day. It keeps it interesting for them. It keeps their muscles a little bit confused and building faster, and is much more effective for weight loss than doing the same exact routine every single day. So let's kind of walk you through what happens after surgery. The first year really is magical, and patients are so happy, and I love being a part of this process with my patients. They're losing weight almost daily. They very quickly are at a lower weight than they ever have been in 10, 20, even 30 years. And they're feeling better. Their energy levels going through the roof. People are giving them compliments. Their aches and pains are improving. Their health is improving. Every time they see their doctor, they're being congratulated, and they're reducing the number of medications they take. It's a wonderful time, and it's so exciting. You also have no appetite or food cravings, and that is true power. To be able to live your life without hearing that little voice calling you every other minute, telling you to eat this or eat that, or why don't you look for this thing that would be bad for you. To have that voice quieted is a tremendous relief to so many people. You're also only able to eat a very, very small portion during this first year. What's critical about this first year, with no appetite and no cravings for food, it gives you an opportunity to almost make an academic choice about what to eat, rather than an emotional one about what brings you pleasure or what makes you happy. You can choose to eat healthy foods, and what I encourage patients to do is not just make the decision, I'm going to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, but to learn about fruits and vegetables, to make some of the nut-based salad dressings that we talk about in our book, and to explore new vegetable-based dishes and learn how to cook them and prepare them. Many people have 10 or 15 staples that they'll regularly serve to their family. And what I want you to do in this first year is to create 10 or 15 new staples, healthy staples, so that you have, at the end of the year, you have the skills to cook them. When you go to the grocery store, you know exactly where to buy the individual ingredients you know to make it up. You've got it all memorized, it's very automatic, and it becomes your new habit. We have to take advantage of this period where you're free of hunger and cravings, and it's easy to make good choices so that you develop the new habits, the habits that are going to guide you for the rest of your life. The second year is so critical, and it's critical because what happens is that the weight loss and the positive feedback that you're getting starts to decrease. You're not going to lose that much weight in your second year. Some patients still do, but the vast majority of people will lose maybe no more than 10 or 15 pounds in their second year. And we start to see the beginning of the return of food cravings. And although they start very quietly, you start to develop hunger, you start to look at some of the processed foods out there and remember, I used to eat that regularly, that was good, I wonder if I can still eat that, I wonder what would happen. Some of those thoughts and ideas and the voice starts to come back. And it's really important to recognize that this is happening, to acknowledge it, and to really fall back on those habits that we've created in that first year, to continue eating the right way, and to recognize the value of this high nutrient diet as an important part of why you feel so good and why your health has improved so much, not just the surgery. The portion sizes will increase, but they'll still remain very, very small. What I work with patients the most on in the second year is physical fitness, because the scale is not giving you this constant reinforcement. So we have to keep the momentum alive. We have to keep you moving forward. And what I find is if we are able to focus on physical fitness goals, can you run an entire mile? Can you do a real push-up? Can you do 10 sit-ups in under 30 seconds? Can you finish a Zumba class without stopping? Look for these small goals and use those to drive you and continue your positive motivation. That works fantastic because we're not going to get the feedback from the scale. that we had in the first year. But I want you to keep moving forward, and I want you to develop now this exercise routine where you're in love with moving your body. You realize it's critically important to your long-term success, and you're starting to be able to do things that you haven't been able to do in 10, 20, or 30 years. Years 3 through 5, we start to see some appetite cravings and appetite and food cravings return, but they still are a fraction of what they ever were. And we see portion sizes increase to the point where they're about half of their preoperative amounts. And if you eat half of a plate of heavily processed food, you are still at significant risk for regaining weight. And what's happened at this point, your set point is now low. And for you to regain weight, it's like anybody else gaining weight from the beginning. If you go on some form of starvation diet, when you lose all that weight, you can regain the weight very, very rapidly. But regaining weight after bariatric surgery is typically a slower, more insidious process. And it's important to be diligent, to be weighing yourself regularly, to recognize the power of processed food and food addictions and habits, and to continue to draw on the nutritional habits you developed in the first year, the exercise habits you developed on the second year, and keep those to keep you moving forward and keep your eye focused on these excellent lifestyle changes that are going to maintain your weight loss for the rest of your life. Beyond year 5, it's absolutely mission critical that you understand that if you follow the crowd, if you sit down at a table and eat what everybody else at that table is eating, you are at very high risk for regaining weight. Our food environment is toxic and it's poisonous, and the fact that you required bariatric surgery means it's particularly poisonous to you. You are very susceptible. The surgery helps in terms of buffering some of that impact, but it doesn't prevent it. And if you follow the crowd and eat like everybody else does, even those people who may have had bariatric surgery who aren't necessarily making all these positive lifestyle choices, if you follow them, you're at significant risk for regaining weight. And commitment to good nutrition and physical fitness is critical to your continued success, and you must choose this every day. Every day when you wake up, you have to recognize it's about making the choice today to eat healthy and the choice today to exercise. And if you continue to make that choice, you're going to continue to be successful for the rest of your life. But in the end, what I really strive for with my patients, because they're always asking me, Dr. Weiner, what should my goal weight be? What do you think? Have I lost enough weight? I want to lose 10 more. I want to lose 20 more. I want to get down to this weight. And I'm always asked for my opinion on that. And to be honest with you, I don't know. In my mind, whether you're 10 or 15 pounds up or down from what you imagine yourself to be is really not a particularly important point. What I look for in all my patients is I want you to develop a healthy relationship with food and your body. And if you're able to sit down and eat food and enjoy healthy food and not think of it as a sinister act, as a sign of weakness, and not to look at your body as something that's holding you back, but something that allows you to enjoy life. But if we can get you there, at whatever weight we get you there, then we've been able to succeed. If you'd like more information, you can read my book, A Pound of Cure. It's available on Amazon. Look at our website, www.drmatthewweiner.com, our Facebook page at A Pound of Cure, or our YouTube channel. Thank you.